The air in Wichita, Kansas, carried a chill that January evening in 1974, the kind that seeped into bones and made people pull their coats tighter. The Otero family, Joseph, Julie, and their two youngest children, Josephine and Joseph II, were settling into their modest home on Edgewood Drive. The day had been unremarkable, filled with the mundane rhythms of family life. Breakfast, school, errands. But as night fell, a shadow lingered outside their window, watching, waiting. Dennis Rader, a man who blended into the fabric of Wichita like a ghost, stood in the darkness. To his neighbors, he was unassuming, a husband, father, churchgoer, and compliance officer who mowed his lawn and waved politely. But beneath the facade, Rader harbored a darkness that had festered since childhood, a compulsion he called Factor X. It drove him to stalk, to plan, to kill. He'd chosen the Oteros meticulously, studying their routines, mapping their lives. Tonight, he would act. Rader slipped into the house through a back door, his heart pounding but his hands steady. He wore a ski mask and carried a bag with rope, tape, and a knife, tools of his twisted trade. The family didn't hear him until it was too late. Joseph, a retired Air Force veteran, was the first to face him. Rader's gun ensured compliance. Within minutes, the Oteros were bound, their lives unraveling in their own living room. He strangled Joseph first, then Julie, their pleas muffled by the gags he'd fashioned. The children, just 11 and 9, were next. Josephine, beautiful and spirited, was hung in the basement, her small body left dangling as Rader's fantasy played out. Joseph, too, suffocated under a plastic bag. By the time Rader left, the house was silent, the Oteros' warmth replaced by death. Wichita woke to horror. The murder shocked the city, a place unaccustomed to such brutality. Police scrambled, but Rader had been careful. No fingerprints, no witnesses. He'd even taken souvenirs, a watch, a radio, Josephine's underwear. To him, these were trophies, proof of his dominance. He retreated to his normal life, kissing his wife Paula goodnight, attending church, and working his city job. But inside, he was already planning his next move. Months later, Rader struck again. Catherine Bright, a 21-year-old college student, became his target. He broke into her home, waiting for her return. When she arrived with her brother Kevin, Rader's plan faltered. Kevin fought back, even managing to grab Rader's gun, but it misfired. Rader stabbed Catherine repeatedly, leaving her to bleed out, and shot Kevin, who miraculously survived. The botched crime rattled Rader, but it didn't stop him. He was learning, refining his craft. By October 1974, Rader grew bold. He sent a letter to a local newspaper, claiming credit for the Otero murders. He described details only the killer would know, taunting the police with his anonymity. He signed it BTK, bind, torture, kill, a name that would haunt Wichita for decades. The letter sparked fear and fascination. Who was this monster hiding among them? Over the next few years, Rader's killings continued. Shirley Vian, a mother of 3, died in 1977, her children locked in a bathroom as Rader strangled her. Nancy Fox, a 25-year-old secretary, was killed that same year, her pantyhose used to choke her life away. Each crime was methodical, each victim a piece in Rader's grotesque puzzle. He reveled in control, the fear he instilled. He'd linger at crime scenes, posing bodies, taking photos to relive the moments later. Wichita's police were stumped. The BTK killings were unlike anything they'd seen. Calculated, personal, yet seemingly random. Leads went nowhere. Rader's letters, sent sporadically, mocked their efforts. He suggested his own headlines, proposed a book deal, even left poems. One, found in a library book, read, "Oh, death to Nancy, what a trend. BTK, you see he's not your friend." The city lived in dread, women checking their locks, men buying guns. Rader's double life thrived. By day, he was a family man, raising his 2 children, Carrie and Brian, and serving as a Cub Scout leader. At church, he was a deacon, trusted and respected. But at night, he prowled, stalking projects, his term for potential victims. He'd sketch their homes, note their schedules, fantasize about their deaths. His job as a compliance officer gave him cover, letting him roam neighborhoods without suspicion. He was invisible, a predator in plain sight. The killings slowed in the 1980s, but the fear didn't. In 1985, Maureen Hedge, a 53-year-old grandmother, was abducted from her home and found days later in a ditch, strangled. A year later, Vicki Wegerle, a 28-year-old mother, was killed in her house, her body left for her toddler to find. Rader's last known victim, Dolores Davis, died in 1991, her body dumped under a bridge. Each murder fed his ego, his need to be feared, remembered. For years, BTK went silent. Wichita hoped he was dead, imprisoned, or gone. But Rader hadn't stopped. He just paused, savoring his infamy. In 2004, the 30th anniversary of the Otero murders sparked renewed media coverage. Rader, now 59, couldn't resist. He began sending packages to the police and media, cereal boxes with cryptic messages, a doll bound to mimic Josephine Otero, even a fake autobiography outlining his career. He asked if floppy disks could be traced. The police, desperate, lied. No, they're safe. In February 2005, Rader sent a disk to a TV station. Hidden in its metadata was a clue, Christ Lutheran Church, and a user named Dennis. Detectives cross-referenced church records, zeroing in on Dennis Rader, a longtime member. DNA from his daughter's medical records, obtained via court order, matched evidence from the crime scenes. On February 25, 2005, Rader was arrested outside his Park City home, stunned that his perfect crimes had unraveled. In court, Rader's confession was chilling. Over 2 days, he recounted each murder in a flat, detached tone, as if describing a job. He spoke of hitting his victims, of projects and fantasies, showing no remorse. The families wept. Rader didn't flinch. He was sentenced to 10 consecutive life terms, one for each victim, ensuring he'd never walk free. Wichita exhaled, but the scars remained. Rader's crimes, 10 murders across 17 years, had shattered a city's sense of safety. His ability to live as a normal man while harboring such evil baffled psychologists. Some pointed to his childhood, a domineering mother, animal cruelty, early sexual fantasies tied to bondage. Others saw a narcissist who craved control, his letters and taunts a plea for attention. Today, Rader sits in El Dorado Correctional Facility, his days filled with routine, his infamy a footnote in true crime lore. Wichita has moved on, but the name BTK still chills those who remember. The Otero home is gone, raised to erase its ghosts. Yet for the families, the pain lingers, a wound that time only dulls, never heals. In the end, Dennis Rader was no mastermind, just a man who chose to let his darkness win. His story is a reminder. Evil doesn't always lurk in shadows. Sometimes it waves in the front yard, hiding behind a smile.